Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to be talking about Andrew Yang, Notre Dame Cathedral, President Emmanuel Macron from France, and the separation of church and state, and overall cultural relationships between America and France. Right, so there's a lot here. All right, so basically, what I want to talk about today is a plan for Andrew Yang's first 100 days. Right, so I'm setting this here for him and his team as one of the ideas for his first 100 days. Everybody who really is into politics understands that the president's first 100 days is incredibly valuable real estate as far as time, right? So basically, when the president gets in, nobody knows if he's going to be massively successful or if he's going to be rebuffed for 4 years and then he'll be out, right? Or she, but in this case, it would be Andrew Yang, so he. And so basically, everybody kind of panders and they extend goodwill to most presidents in the first 100 days to create a strong relationship. Past presidents have recognized this, and then they have created these very strong, robust 100-day plans, almost as like a ticking clock, saying we have a lot of goodwill, nobody knows what to expect from us right now, and we're going to deliver. We're going to really leverage this time, right? And I think Andrew Yang should do the same, and I think this is something important that Andrew Yang should do on day one. Right, so one of the things I think that Andrew Yang in the first 100 days. So one of the things I think that Andrew Yang has the probability of helping is establishing us as a strong cultural presence, America as a strong cultural presence to be respected within Europe. I really feel that in America, a lot of European nations really don't respect America from a cultural perspective. They look at us and they think of us as non-progressive, that we aren't really progressive, that we don't have new modern ideas. And really, I will say it, they kind of put their nose up at us. And I really feel that France is the first among these groups, right? And the reality is, I think there's going to be, and there's a lot of, frequently people will, there will be people in European governments who are speaking about American politics directly, right? And saying America should do this, America should do that. And really kind of looking down on us. A few of the things that they look down on us is, one, the way we allow people to specifically own guns. That's very different. It's really not allowed in almost any European nation. They have really different ideas. There's a few nations that have armed militias and things like that, but overall, especially in France, basically they have very strict, much stricter gun control than we have here, and they really kind of look down their nose at that. And then the other one is healthcare. Like they kind of how you're almost like an antiquated nation because you don't have universal healthcare, and all of our people are taken care of like this. And so one of the things I think is, I would really love to see Andrew Yang set the record straight, saying, hey, we have our opinions too. And we are way ahead of you on a lot, on some issues, right? Now, not all issues, but some. And we can stand on our own two cultural feet. And this idea, of France looking down on America really needs to stop. And the way that we could do that, in my opinion, is for Andrew Yang to travel in the first 100 days of his presidency, travel to France. He would ask Emmanuel Macron, say, I would like to come and I would like to discuss the following topic. If Emmanuel Macron says no, of course, as a respectful diplomatic nation, this wouldn't hurt, but I think we would have enough leverage for him to get over there. And so basically, Andrew Yang would travel to France and meet with President Emmanuel Macron, and he would say, listen, you need to learn what's going on with Notre Dame is not correct. Right, and so I was shocked to find this out, and so this is what Andrew Yang would say to Emmanuel Macron: the nation of France, which owns Notre Dame. Okay, so the current setup, right? You kind of recount this for Emmanuel Macron, saying, "I understand that you, the French president, understand that the nation of France owns Notre Dame Cathedral. Okay, it owns it outright." And it has granted use in perpetuity to the Catholic Church, right? But this is wrong, right? Andrew Yang would say to Emmanuel Macron, the way the French people are handling Notre Dame Cathedral is incorrect. And that the French nation, the nation of France, should return the Notre Dame Cathedral, return the ownership of the Notre Dame Cathedral to the Catholic Church. And the most recent event is the catalyst for this to be said. Right? Now, I was and that's what he should be saying, and then he'll give reasons, and I'll give the reason that he would say to Emmanuel Macron. So I was shocked to find out that the people of France, the French nation, actually owns Notre Dame Cathedral, right? This is very unusual and incredibly non-progressive, right? No actual progressive nation would ever own a church outright. It's really strange, and we're going to get into the reasons why Notre Dame should be returned to the Catholic Church in a moment, and that will elucidate exactly why a progressive nation should never, ever own a church, right? So I was really shocked to find out that the nation of France actually owns the Notre Dame Cathedral, and they only grant the Catholic Church the use of the building in perpetuity, even though it is fully a Catholic cathedral, right? It's fully a Catholic cathedral. There's really no question about that, right? The French people, in my opinion, really have no right to own the Notre Dame, and I think the only reason that ever even came about was the French Revolution, where the church was literally desecrated, right? So, the history behind this is pretty deep, right? So basically, at that point, once Andrew Yang had made this statement to French President Emmanuel Macron, he would say, listen, you really need to return the ownership of the Notre Dame Cathedral to the Catholic Church. And the reason why is basically by owning the Notre Dame Cathedral, the Catholic Church is massively, massively promoting Christianity, right? The Notre Dame Cathedral is in the shape of a cross, a Christian cross, right? And basically, as a progressive nation, you should not be taking you should not be promoting one nationality over another, one religion over another. The second reason is the Notre Dame Cathedral, to the Catholic Church, to the Catholic worshipers, to the Catholic officiates, is sacred. They have literally consecrated that church. But to the French people and to the French nation, it is literally a mundane object, right? So basically, to the Catholic Church, this is incredibly precious. To the French people, it's another mundane object, right? And there's evidence that is the case, that the French people just see it as another building, right? The French Revolution is one big thing, and basically the care of this incredibly important historic artifact really should be in the hands of people who genuinely care about it, right? Which, it's really not a contest. To one group it's sacred, to another group it's mundane, right? The last is as a nation, as a modern nation, the French people need to give equal treatment to all major religions, right? Now, how on earth are you going to have $100 billion given by $100 billion and French dollars as well, and French attention from the national government given to one Christian building, and then not give the same billion to all the other major religions which exist within France, right? It's incredibly unfair, right? Now, all three of these are super basic principles, and Andrew Yang could again say this to Emmanuel Macron nicer than I'm saying it now, but he could say, listen, the three things that I just told you, these are super basic principles that the progressive nation of America understood and has understood for 300 years, right? And Andrew Yang should be educating the president of France on this cultural issue. And by doing that, he makes a statement that's saying, hey, as America, we are not behind culturally. We're not behind progressively. The nation of France is majorly behind culturally and progressively in how they're treating the Notre Dame Cathedral, right? And so this would say from the beginning of his presidency, Andrew Yang would be making a bold statement saying, listen, we should be taken seriously culturally, and Europe has a lot to learn from us, not the other way around. Setting the stakes in the ground right away, right? And in some ways, when you stand on your own 2 feet, others can respect you better, right? And this would be to establish the cultural respect that we deserve as Americans from France. That's my opinion on what Andrew Yang should say to President Emmanuel Macron on the subject of the Notre Dame Cathedral. I'd love to hear your opinion. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.